the Majority Whip.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, each year I look forward to spending Thanksgiving with Wyoming men and women in uniform who are serving overseas. I had the privilege of doing it again this year. This Thanksgiving, I was with Wyoming Airmen at Ramstein Air Force Base, which is in Germany. These young men and women came from Casper, Cheyenne, Riverton, serving our nation. They're doing an outstanding job in their work in supporting the missions in Europe, in Asia, and in the Middle East. They're a long way from home, 8 time zones away from Wyoming, away from family, away from friends, away for the holidays. And I go every year, wherever I can find Wyoming troops, to thank them for their service, to thank them for their commitment, to thank them for what they do to keep us safe and to keep us free, and the sacrifices that they're making. And I also want them to know that the people at home are thinking about them and know that they're a long way from home and caring for all of us. To me, they're heroes. They wear the uniform not for their safety, but for ours. And we see it abroad, and we also see it at home. What we've seen at home is, since August, National Guard troops have been deployed right here in Washington, D.C. As a result, Washington, D.C. is safer for residents and for visitors, for people who come from your state and from mine, who want to come and see the nation's capital. What we've seen since this has begun is the number of murders, rapes, and robberies has fallen dramatically. Tragically, just one day before Thanksgiving, 2 members of the National Guard were targeted. It was an ambush attack, and it happened just blocks away from the White House. It was an act of terrorism. The act was not only on our National Guardsmen, it was on our entire nation. One of the service members, Sarah Beckstrom, well, she was an Army specialist from West Virginia. She died on Thanksgiving Day. She was only 20 years old. The other is Andrew Wolf. He's a staff sergeant in the Air Force, also from West Virginia, 24 years old. He remains hospitalized in critical condition, fighting for his life. And we join all Americans in praying for them and their families. The terrorist who attacked them was an Afghan national. He's one of tens of thousands of Afghans who were flown into our country following Joe Biden's disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. We now know for a fact that thousands of these individuals were not properly vetted. I specifically questioned Joe Biden's Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, here in the Senate about this, and I questioned him under oath. And under oath, he testified, Joe Biden's Secretary of State, that, quote, most of them were not vetted. Didn't matter to Joe Biden. He waved them all into our country. Republicans warned repeatedly that bringing people without proper clearance from a war-torn country was a major national security risk. The negligent Biden administration ignored the warning. In 2021, 13 American heroes were killed in the botched withdrawal from Kabul, Afghanistan. One of them was Wyoming's own Riley McCullum. He embodied the best of Wyoming. He was a Marine. He joined the Marines on his 18th birthday. I spoke at his funeral. He was Wyoming's wrestling champion. He was about to become a father. He was just 20 years old when he died. He was the same age as Sarah Beckstrom from West Virginia. The fallout from Joe Biden's disastrous decision hurt Americans then, and it continues to hurt Americans today. President Trump and Republicans are working to reverse these failures. The president is strengthening law enforcement. He's deporting criminals who are here in our country illegally, and he's taking a hard look at anyone who has been improperly vetted. His actions will make America safer and more secure. Joe Biden's disgraceful withdrawal was not an isolated failure. It was part of a pattern of dangerous, destructive and deadly policies. More than 10 million illegal immigrants entered our country under Joe Biden and the Democrats. Millions more are known gotaways. They are individuals who were seen by the Border Patrol but never charged, never stopped, never questioned. How many more terrorists slipped into our country because Democrats threw open the borders? Where are they now? What are they up to? We don't know. Most Americans understand that national security begins with border security. That means we must stop people from entering our country illegally. It means we must ensure dangerous individuals do not enter our country even through legal means. And it certainly means we must remove dangerous criminals who are in the country today. As the Trump administration recently warned, mass migration poses an existential threat to Western civilizations. So what do the Democrats think? Well, on Sunday on Face the Nation, CBS asked the junior senator from Virginia if the vetting process should be strengthened after the shooting. Now, that's exactly what President Trump is doing. The senator refused to answer that question. Instead, he told a national television audience that having the National Guard in Washington, D.C. was a, quote, political stunt. He blamed President Trump. Political stunt, it's a matter of public safety. President Trump is the one who is protecting American citizens from terrorist attacks, attacks like the one witnessed last week just in front of the White House. President Trump and Republicans want every American to be safe, to be secure, and to be prosperous. This is our top priority. After last week's brutal attack, securing our border and our communities is more urgent than ever. And Republicans are going to continue to remove criminals from the streets and get the terrorists out of the country. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor.